CBS 21 News begins with breaking news.
This is every parent's nightmare, right? You're sending your kid off to college sometimes for their first day, and you get an alert that there could be a shooter on campus.
And that's what's happening. Just 24 hours after students moved into Villanova, they were sent scurrying for cover.
And reports of an active shooter rocking that campus. The university's president confirming those reports were, quote, a cruel hoax. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm Candace Scalise.
I'm Joel D. Smith. So much has now unfolded in the last few hours. Let's catch you up. Here's what we know so far. Around 4:30 today, a campus Nova alert goes out to all those students and staff, telling people to move to a safe location and lock or barricade yourself inside the doors.
Then around 5:45, police told the public there were no victims. And less than half an hour later, the university's president sent out a message that the shooting threat was all a hoax.
The university later confirmed there was no firearm found on campus, and in all the running and reacting, no one got hurt either. Officers on the scene praising students for knowing exactly what to do.
They knew how to lock down. They did it safely. Right now, we're reporting no injuries. This is a serious issue. It is a crime. It is wrong.
My office, Criminal Investigation Division, the FBI, we're all going to work to try to get to the bottom of who might have done this. Because if this was indeed a cruel hoax, this is a crime. And we will track you down if it's the last thing we do.
And again, all of this took place just hours after students moved in.
CBS 21's Yasmin Cowan had a chance to talk to a number of students this evening, just still coming to grips with what they saw today.
Yeah, she's joining us from the university.
It was a terrifying moment for students, staff, and everyone on this campus after receiving an alert of an active shooter here at Villanova University. But now that it was confirmed as a hoax, some feel relieved and others still feel chills through their bodies.
You know, you hear the rumbling of people, right? And then you look over and then you see people screaming and then someone says active shooter and it's just go, go, go.
A time to welcome new students and their families turned into pure pandemonium after hearing reports of an active shooter. It left everyone scrambling and seeking shelter during the first-year student orientation mass. The campus sent into a lockdown as students were told to barricade themselves in their rooms, according to Villanova University.
And all of a sudden, I just saw people running like a stampede. It was just insane. And then the people behind us, they say there's an active shooter. They got a text and they said, like, let's go. And we just booked it.
The threat took over the university's opening day, which included events like a resource fair, a family picnic, and an opening mass. But as this event broke down, prayers were quickly offered by many online, including Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick, who said, "I'm aware of and monitoring the situation at Villanova. We are praying for the safety of students, faculty, law enforcement, and everyone on campus."
I had my brother slam my head to keep my head down, and I actually got separated from my family in the moment.
Were separated.
It was a fight or flight moment, and I couldn't find them.
Every parent's nightmare and every student's biggest fear is what Governor Josh Shapiro classifies as a series of events. Shapiro took to X calling the incident swatting, saying he's directing Pennsylvania State Police to use every tool to find the person or people responsible and to hold them accountable.
Loving and forgiving, and all as hard, and that's the difficult decision, but it's the right decision to make.
The university says they led a community blessing on campus after the incident, saying tomorrow they'll resume orientation activities. At Villanova University, I'm Yasmin Cowan.
Yasmin, hearing those brothers protecting each other and then being separated just gives me chills. Now, when that active shooter report came in, chaos on Villanova's campus came with it. We are getting a look at some of the scary moments of people running, some people barricading themselves. Looks like they have a table here, a trash can, as they were told to shelter in place, find somewhere safe to go. You can see other people here at a family gathering. They are getting up and just finding a safe place to hide when there were reports of an active shooter on campus. And then this is the aftermath of a celebration mass that was happening with more people just starting to run. You can see everybody that was there outside of Austin Hall. I want to show you this too. This was the orientation mass. This is where students and families gather as kind of that start of the new school year, right? So they're welcoming new people, but you can see everybody getting up and leaving when they got that alert about what was going on, which we now learned was a hoax. So tonight I spoke with an alumna of Villanova University who was at this same mass when she was a freshman. She says seeing all of this brought back so many memories. She was actually leaving work near campus this afternoon when she saw a helicopter and then a bunch of police activity.
I kept seeing several emergency vehicles passing very quickly on my commute home. So I knew there was definitely something going on that was not normal. And then as I'm going down the street, I get a text, and then that's followed by a phone call. And I was able to hear about the alert from Radnor Township, letting us know about the event and also advising us that they were going to be closing down certain buildings.
What was your reaction when you read that there was a suspected shooter at the university near where you work?
Well, I heard it from my phone because I don't text and drive. So I heard it on the phone. My first thought was shock. I was completely shocked because this kind of thing is not normal. The neighborhood is not one that you might expect this to happen. It's a wonderful neighborhood. The main line is a beautiful place in which to grow up. And my heart immediately went out to the poor families and the students who are in their freshman year just getting started.
Did you have that outdoor mass? Was that something that you guys did at the start of the school year when you were there?
As a matter of fact, we did. I do actually remember that because I remember thinking, this is really a special event. And I guess this is what happens on every campus. But it was a wonderful unifying event. And when I saw the pictures online about the event today, it reminded me that I actually had done the same thing.
Yeah, she went on to talk about just being a parent too. You know, all of us as parents, our heart just aches anytime that something like this happens.
My kid goes to college next year.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this and going, that would be really rough to
Scary.
think about in so many ways. All right, well, we're glad it turned out okay, but there's still a lot to work out here. Who did this? What was the motive? What brought this to the level of notifying everybody? So when we have more information, we'll let you know. In the meantime, so much reaction, and all of our coverage is at CBS21.com.
Threats of violence at colleges and businesses nationwide have put law enforcement on high alert. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Chapman-Whitfield.
And I'm Josh Rowe. Just last week, UTC received a false report of an active shooter on campus. However, police found no trace of a threat inside the library there.
A similar situation at Villanova University in Pennsylvania last week. Federal officials are warning these false calls are costly to law enforcement and take away time from real life-threatening situations.
Fox Channel News' Ray Collado spoke with one expert about the mental toll these false reports can take on law enforcement and the people directly impacted by them as well.
You constantly get called thinking you could die on this call, which we all know it's there, and it keeps being a false alarm. You never solve those issues with inside you.
3 calls in the span of a week, none of which showed any evidence of a threat. UTK, UTC, and the Chattanooga airport were all victims of reports leading to temporary lockdowns.
What is the reason? Are they just pulling a prank? Are they trying to call to get us to go to one area so they can go do a crime in another area? Are they testing to see what is law enforcement's response time if we choose to do that?
Vince Champion with the International Brotherhood of Police Officers says, regardless of that reason, law enforcement must treat the call like the real deal.
We have to respond. We have to answer. There has to be some type of response to those, because the one time we don't, that would be the one that would be the real one and would cause some mass casualties.
Champion says it's situations like UTC's recent active shooter alert that puts law enforcement to the test. And according to Cornell Law School, providing false information to an emergency service agency, like calling in a bomb threat, can give you a prison sentence of up to 5 years. FBI officials tell us in part, quote, the FBI is seeing an increase in swatting events across the country, and we take potential hoax threats very seriously because it puts innocent people at risk, end quote. Champion says these situations often cost law enforcement thousands of dollars.
Not just wish people would find another way to amuse themselves than to scaring everyday citizens who are trying to live and do their thing and taking cops away from doing their job to keep everybody safe.
In Chattanooga, Rick Riado, Fox Chattanooga.
There was also a similar call yesterday in Columbia, South Carolina, just like today's calls. Once last week, University of South Carolina campus police said someone reported seeing an unknown person at the library, and the 911 call had gunfire in the background. 2 students were hurt in the chaos of leaving the library. There was no evidence of a shooter there on campus.
Well, tonight the governor wants to see some swift action after Sunday night's false report of a shooter at USC sent that campus into a tailspin. School officials say they were the target of what the FBI calls swatting, fake calls that are dangerous for both first responders and anyone caught in the middle of the chaos they kick up. Our Megan Gagno following that story today and has more on what comes next.
Somebody needs to go to jail.
Some strong words from Governor McMaster about Sunday night's shooting hoax. Swatting has been affecting public spaces like college campuses for years. The calls are intended to create chaos by drawing a heavy law enforcement presence to large crowds or spaces.
That is a crime, and it has impact. Could have been a lot worse than it was. Maybe next time it will be worse.
It's a felony to make a false police report if that's one of a felony. So saying that there's a shooting, that would clearly be a felony. So making a false police report where police respond, that could be up to 5 years in prison.
Columbia attorney Tyler Bailey says swatting needs to be looked at closer, considering the number of cases seen in recent days and the threat of new and improved technology. USC is one of several universities targeted by swatting calls in less than a week. A man called 911 twice Sunday night, saying he saw a person with a gun inside the Thomas Cooper Library. The first call came at 6:30 and the second just 2 minutes later. Both calls had background noise that sounded like gunfire, making the threat appear real. School officials sent out a Carolina alert to students, staff, and parents about an active shooter. It's the first time they've had to use it for something of this nature.
We live in a society these days, unfortunately, where we have soft spots and mass shootings, and swatting and having an overwhelming law enforcement presence who shows up on Sunday afternoon for something that was a joke is just unexcusable.
Swatting not only ties up valuable resources and creates fear, but there's also the risk of people not taking threats seriously in the future.
I think that people shouldn't take this as a joke. Calling on our officers where they got countless things that can be addressed every day, and something that's a joke should not happen at all.
Megan Gagno reporting tonight. Now, USC officials asking students and faculty to never assume it's a hoax anytime a threat like this is reported. Watch Fox News has also made a Freedom of Information request for copies of Sunday night's 911 calls.
Reports of an active shooter drew a massive law enforcement presence to campus today. The situation exploded on social media just after noon, and for several hours left students and their parents fearing the worst. But in the end, the report turned out to be a hoax. Channel 7's Tyree White recaps the day for us. He is live here in our studio. Tyree.
Yeah, Chris, when you hear the words active shooter, you can't help but to think about countless tragedies where the threat was real. So to see that this wasn't one of those tragedies is the best outcome parents, students, and staff could have hoped for.
Just another day on U of A Fayetteville's campus quickly turned into one filled with fear and uncertainty. Just before 12:30 Monday afternoon, a campus-wide alert system known as Raise Alerts warned students and faculty of a report of an active shooter on campus. It sent students running for their lives to nowhere in particular.
We received a total of 308 landline phone calls and 38 911 calls that covered 7 different buildings.
University of Arkansas Assistant Police Chief Matt Mills says the first of those calls rang in around noon, with reports of shots fired inside Mullins Library and other campus buildings. After hours of searching, the U of A Police Department found those reports to be false.
This time we have no record of shots fired, no injuries. It's looking as if this was another swatting or hoax call.
Just in the month of August alone, there's been 6 other false active shooter reports at universities across the country. And even though today's reports weren't true, it's important to know what to do in case one day they're real.
Training, or the best reaction you can have, is prior training. And we tell people that not because that's
something that we provide. It's to actually save lives.
Monty Mills is an active shooter training expert with Safe Haven Security Group, LLC. Mills says in an actual active shooter situation, you should avoid the threat, deny the threat entry to wherever you are, defend yourself if you come in contact with an active shooter. It's a process Mills says law enforcement followed perfectly today.
You do that to save one life, one casualty, even if it is somewhat may seem a little over the top for some. Oh, it was a hoax. Why did they go through all this? For one life, for one casualty to be avoided. That's why.
With the help of other law enforcement agencies, including Springdale PD and state police, UAPD responded to the scene and cleared out all the buildings by 2:45 p.m. Police confirmed no active threats on campus and classes were canceled for the rest of the day.
U of A Assistant Police Chief Matt Mills says they're starting to look at where the false phone reports came from, but right now they don't know. Mills also says charges could come for those responsible if found, and UAPD would work with prosecutors to determine what those charges would be. On your side, I'm Tyree White.
Okay, Tyree, thanks so much.